Now, between 2008 and 2010, Africa lost $63.4 billion to illicit financial flows, which is about $1.2 billion more than what it received in aid and foreign direct investment. This is according to the United Nations Development Programme, the UNDP. The UN body also estimates that in 2013, $1.1 trillion left developing countries through illicit fund flows, which the World Bank describes as a cross-border movement of capital associated with illegal activities or money that's illegally earned, transferred, or used that crosses the border. Now, South Africa and Nigeria are reported to rank high among 30 countries with the highest indices, with Nigeria losing between 15 and 18 billion US annually. The Nigerian arm of the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, a global standard for the good governance of oil and gas minerals, reports that the oil sector accounts for 90% of illicit fund flow in Nigeria. Now, we're going to look at all these figures and get some more perspective on this. I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by a former director with the State Security Services, Mr. Dennis Amakri. Thanks a lot for joining us on the news at 10. Now, you hear the Nigeria ranking high on that particular list, but it's been established that some of these funds land in the hands of terrorists. So how are they able to penetrate, come and go across the border with it? Nobody notices.
Well, many people would have looked at the fight against terrorism as a fight that has been, you find out that the Nigerian army themselves are spending money, and the terrorists are resisting for over 10 years. Have we sat back to think how they have been able to sustain themselves, facilitate all their movements, and then, of course, do what they are doing? Apparently, they have a lot of funds in their hands.
How?
Well, some of them are being funded by individuals, especially for Boko Haram. Most of the funds are coming from local people. The funds going to ISWAP, which is the Islamic State of West Africa, that's coming from outside the country because of their affiliation with ISIS. And then, of course, they themselves are raising funds by themselves, by cattle rustling, drug trafficking, kidnapping, and these monies are illegal monies, which must have summed up to what we are hearing today.
Yeah, but when you look at the way it moves across our borders, the big question, here we go again with the border question, what will it take to police Nigeria's borders so that we don't have this kind of thing?
Yeah, you see, in fact, I think this initiative is coming at the right time. We've been talking about the porous borders in this country. And now the initiative of this CISA conference is to come up with a watch list of terrorists, either known or suspected terrorists. There will be a watch list, and that watch list will be used for people crossing in and out of the borders in African countries.
Yeah, but what about the arms flow? Yes, we talked about the watch list, arms flow.
Yeah, same thing, because I think they have to tighten up on their customs and immigration systems, because these threats are very for real. And the governments, I'm happy that they are coming together, because one government cannot do it alone.
Yeah, but what exactly will it, we keep hearing this, they need to tighten up, then they parade certain people and show you weapons. We don't know what happens after that. So what exactly should be done?
Well, I think, like you said, parading people and then we don't hear anything again should stop, actually. Because if examples are being made by those people that have been arrested, even for kidnapping, we need some convictions that would be high profile for people to know that this particular crime does not pay. But we are not doing that right now, and I think we should.
What about, as you talked about punishment, convictions, what about intelligence, the big I that we always talk about? In some countries, you find that when someone wants to procure that kind of large amount of weapons, something triggers somewhere, and then you begin to monitor the person. What about Nigeria? Nothing like that.
This is one of the things they are doing right now, because with this watch list that CISA is going to bring in place, that's going to help. It has been helping, of course, EFCC have been doing. There is the GIABA arrangements for West Africa, where they exchange intergovernmental action that they are trying to cooperate to see, whether they can pinpoint some of these illegal movements. And of course, EFCC had used a lot of that. But I think we can increase our usage, and it would help.
Well, in terms of, again, I'm going to come back to mopping up arms that have gone across the border. Whenever we try to talk about intelligence, they move away from that and talk about how agencies are trying to do something. What should we do differently about the way we handle intelligence? We always seem to be reacting rather than stopping it from happening. I
think it has been discussed in many fora that Nigerian security agencies should start looking at deployment of technology, and that is the way to go. And that is what other countries are doing right now. And that way, you can be proactive instead of being reactive. All
right. Former Director with the State Security Services, Mr. Dennis Amakre, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you very much.
On the News at 10.